Welcome back, everybody. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos. I'm doing my favorite movie genre decade. This one, my favorite drama movies of the 1990s. Now, honestly, this is the hardest one of these videos I have ever done because I had forgotten exactly how good the 90s were for movies. Like, not just drama, but everything. I researched online drama movies from the 1990s, lists and lists and lists and lists. I started writing down movies I like, and before I knew it, there was like 70 of them. I had to narrow it down. So some of them were kind of easier to get rid of. Some I knew I was going to keep. I got it down to like 40. So I did watch some of them again and took more off. I got my list of 20. Then like shit, I forgot about this one. This one wasn't even on the list, like on the line. So anyway, I got it down to 20. Let's start it off. And again, no order by preference. They're in order from earliest to latest. I'm not good at deciding order by preference, so I don't do that. All right. Start with the first one. Famous Kevin Costner movie. Dances with Wolves, where he meets a Native American tribe, kind of befriends them. They call him Dance with the Wolves because they see him playing with dogs. Now, granted, this is not one of the movies I watched recently for research because I knew this was going to be on the list. But honestly, I don't remember a lot of detail to go into it, which I'm going to avoid anyway. Because if I say a movie on here you haven't seen, I want you to watch it and not going to give it away. Some of them you've heard of anyway. So let's move on from Dancing with the Wolves. That's probably my favorite Kevin Costner movie. Cuba Gooding Jr., Lawrence Fishburne, Ice Cube, Boys in the Hood. I also love the soundtrack, by the way. This is a great one. It's about growing up in South Central. We know Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character goes to live with his dad because he keeps getting in trouble in school. There he meets Doughboy, Ice Cube. Ice Cube's first movie. And it's pretty much just about their day-to-day life, always being stopped by the police, things like that. But Boys in the Hood is a great movie. And again, great soundtrack. But not my favorite soundtrack on this list. We'll get to that. I'll tell you which one it is. But Boys in the Hood is a great one. If you haven't seen Boys in the Hood, I highly recommend it because it's just great performances all around. Especially by Ice Cube being new and everything. And of course, Lawrence Fishburne is always spectacular, so you can't go wrong. Up next, Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix. My Own Private Idaho. They play male hustlers. Just not really living anywhere. They're just all over the place. And it's a very touching and moving movie, especially if you were to watch it now, since River Phoenix has passed away since, which was extremely tragic. Because during this era of My Own Private Idaho, River Phoenix arguably was the greatest working actor, especially for his age. So, My Own Private Idaho is another one that you have to see if you haven't yet. Alright, I'm excited for the next one because I loved this one when it came out. I had it on VHS and everything. This was filmed before Encino Man but released after. School Ties. And the cast. Brendan Fraser, obviously, plays David Green. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck's in it. Chris O'Donnell. It's just a stellar cast. And David Green is a Jewish kid who gets kind of recruited to play football for this prestigious elite school. The only difference is he has to hide his Jewish heritage because they're not his understanding. It's based back way back when. So it wasn't his understanding, and he becomes friends with everybody until they find out he's Jewish. And that's all I'm going to tell you, because it is an amazing movie. Again, great performances, especially from such a younger cast at that time. I mean, they've all gone on to bigger and better things, as we know. Brendan Fraser, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Chris O'Donnell, right? All right. Remember I said Boys in the Hood? There was a soundtrack I like more. I also like this movie more, and the soundtrack. Menace to Society. Tyrant Turner, Larenz Tate. Again, this is about trying to survive in the bad neighborhoods where the police don't care, especially back then. But I love the soundtrack. It's a great movie, except for the difference between this and Boys in the Hood. Cuba Gooding Jr., the main character of Boys in the Hood, is kind of, he's not bad. Like, he always does the right thing. And this one here is more of a complex black or white. He is neither good nor bad. He does shit. Like, he robs people, he kills people. But Larenz Tate as Odo completely stole the movie. What a job he did. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I actually have the movie poster from it. Quite proud of that, by the way. As well as 2 others on this list, actually. I'll tell you later. But I highly recommend Menace to Society. This is the movie that Tupac was supposed to be in, until he got fired for getting into it with the directors. So, Menace to Society is a great, great, great movie. Kind of sad. Has some funny moments as well. Alright, the next one is a young Leonardo DiCaprio with Johnny Depp and Juliette Lewis. What's Eating Gilbert Grape? There's really not much I can say about this movie, because Leonardo DiCaprio's mentally challenged. Their mother is extremely overweight, like extreme, and Gilbert Grape is Johnny Depp. So What's Eating Gilbert Grape is, he can't really do a lot with his life because he's taking care of his mother and his brother. So then he meets Juliette Lewis, who's in town for vacation, and ends up falling for her. But this is such a great movie, and it's mostly notable for me because this is where Leonardo DiCaprio first started to show what he is capable of. Because he did a phenomenal job in this movie. Oh, I remember this one. I had never seen it before. My birthday came up. Then every year, invited friends over, have a movie. And I picked this movie for some reason off the top of my head. Philadelphia. With Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks' character is HIV positive. He got fired from his job for it and for being homosexual. And he's suing. Denzel Washington's his lawyer. This movie brought out so many emotions in me when I was like 16 or 17 years old when it first came out. And I was surprised. I don't know how my friends thought about it, because we never really talked about it, but it moved me a lot, and this has always stuck out as one of my favorite movies of the 90s. So, yeah. Rush out and watch Philadelphia if you haven't seen it yet. Such great performances. Tom Hanks won the Academy Award, deservedly so. Actually, he won an Academy Award for the next movie as well. Forrest Gump. I love Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump's a movie I'm sure every single person watching this video has at least heard of. Life is like a box of chocolates. But my favorite's I Love You, Jenny. But it shows him all the way from when he was a child all the way up. He supposedly taught Elvis how to dance, and I like how they put him in different scenarios in the past. Like, he met LBJ and showed him his butt because he got shot in it. And the great Gary Sinise as Lieutenant Dan. Can't forget Lieutenant Dan. This movie just, no matter how many times I've seen it, I've always really enjoyed it. I had heard they were going to do a sequel, but I don't think that's necessary at all. Apparently, the book had a sequel. Sean Patrick Flanery is up next. Jeff Goldblum's in it. Powder, where when his mother was pregnant with him, the mud puddle was struck by lightning and she was in it, and he had no hair at all, no tan, but extremely smart, like off the charts. Anyway, he's staying with his grandparents. When they pass away, he gets found in the basement of the house, kind of hiding out. So he gets taken somewhere, which I assume is like a boys' home. And of course, he gets picked on a lot because of his looks. And all he wants to do is go back home. Not E.T., Powder. Powder wants to go back home because people left him alone when he was there. I have always loved this movie. This is another one that I knew was going to be in the top 20. I just knew. Morgan Freeman, Tim Robbins, The Shawshank Redemption, based off a Stephen King novella, which I also love. But Shawshank Redemption, to me, is one of the greatest Stephen King adaptations of all time. I had a moment. I absolutely love this movie. All the way down. Like, Tim Robbins killed it. Morgan Freeman always does a tremendous job. And all you want to see, Andy's in prison for killing his wife. And he swears his innocence. He's one of the few guys you believe him. So, this is another one on a list. I'm pretty sure you've seen Shawshank Redemption. It's on TV constantly. So, but Shawshank Redemption is one of my favorite movies. I've seen it at least 10 times. The next movie I've only seen once or twice. I'm going to be honest with you. But Nicolas Cage. Leaving Las Vegas. He goes to Vegas with the intention of drinking himself to death. That's his goal. There he meets Elizabeth Shue. That's right, the babysitter from Adventures of Babysitting. She grew up to be a prostitute, apparently. So he meets her. And it's just, I'm not going to tell you a damn thing about this movie other than what I just did. It's one of those movies you have to see it for yourself. That's why I've only watched it once or twice, because it hits hard. It really does. So check out Leaving Las Vegas. Up next is probably one of my favorite John Travolta movies, Phenomenon. It doesn't get a lot of love, but it is one of my favorite movies of his. He plays George, just a simple guy in a simple town, where he sees a flash of light on his birthday one night, and he wakes up really smart and stuff like that, and he ends up fixing all these problems, and people start treating him a little bit differently, but because he's not simple George anymore. And he ends up being kind of tested by the government and stuff, and he gets frustrated, and you find out it wasn't some magical alien being that gave him powers. I don't want to tell you anymore, because I love this movie. If you haven't seen Phenomenon, look for it and watch it right away. If you're like me, the first time I watched it again, and it also has the always amazing Forrest Whitaker. All right. Tell you a little personal thing. When I was in my late teens, I had a problem. Like, all I did, I played basketball, I drank, and I got high. Just being honest here. And at the time, I thought, I have a great life. I didn't at all. But that's all I did. Basketball, drugs, alcohol. So a friend of mine I had at the time, like, they made a movie about you. I was like, no, they didn't. He goes, yeah, let's watch it. So we watched it. The Basketball Diaries with Mark Wahlberg, Leonardo DiCaprio, based off Jim Carroll. But once I watched it, I understood his point. I really did. I got it. They play basketball players, but they can't leave the drugs alone. One of their friends, Bobby, has cancer. It's about kind of their journey, well, mostly Leonardo DiCaprio's journey into sobriety. That's really what it's about. But the hardships he went through to get there. Ernie Hudson is in it, tries to help him out. Juliette Lewis, again, she's in it. Just a small part, but she's there. Such a great movie. This is where Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg met. And Leo did not want Mark Wahlberg in the movie because Marky Mark at the time. So, check out Basketball Diaries. Love this movie. Alright, the next movie on my list is the movie I watched that made me love movies the way that I do. This is the one that started my obsession and addiction to movies. It is. Captivating performance by Edward Norton. Primal Fear. Richard Gere plays a lawyer. Martin Vale. He decides to take on a case of Aaron, an altar boy, because the Archbishop was murdered and Aaron's the suspect. And just the story they go with, how it goes about. It was such an amazing movie. This is another one. As soon as it was over, I watched it again. Then I actually watched it again. Like, I watched this one 3 times in a row. And Edward Norton was nominated for an Academy Award for this movie for supporting actor. And how he didn't win, I will never understand. Because this is one of the best performances, like a debut I've ever seen. And this started my obsession with movies and cinema. So check out Primal Fear, everybody. You will not regret that whatsoever. This is another one I have the movie poster for, by the way. Primal Fear. Up next is one of my favorite movies of all time. Written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Good Will Hunting. Look at the cast. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Casey Affleck, Minnie Driver, the late, great, just superb Robin Williams plays Sean, the psychiatrist. Matt Damon plays Will Hunting. He's a janitor, but like a genius. And he's working at a prestigious school. The math teacher, like a pompous ass, he puts a big math equation on the board. Whoever can solve it, it's solved. The teacher's wondering who did it, and then they see Will. Will's at the board doing the thing. So he starts looking who he is. Will gets arrested for assault. The teacher shows up, put him in my care. I got you off, but you have to do math for us. And therapy. And that's where he meets Robin Williams as Sean. I don't want to give away too much. There's also a cameo by Kevin Smith in this movie as well. I absolutely love Good Will Hunting. And it's where the line, "How you like them apples," came from. Great line, isn't it? So, Good Will Hunting. Oh, the next one. I watched this one 2 times in a row. Coincidentally, it's the 3rd movie poster I have from this one video. Edward Norton again. Edward Furlong. Ethan Suplee. Just Fairuza Balk. American History X. American History X. Edward Norton and Edward Furlong are brothers. Their dad is played by the father from Boy Meets World. But yeah, they're skinheads. Derek, Edward Norton, is getting out of prison for murder. And I love how this movie was shot. Like, it's a color, but then when it shows flashbacks, it's in black and white, so you know this is what happened. This is why he's in jail. This is what happened while he was in jail. Stuff like that. It just, this movie has such great performances, and it's one of those movies that has to make you think. It has to. And it's one of the movies I feel is still relevant today. It absolutely is. This movie should be shown in schools or somewhere. as education, the dangers of being a skinhead and judging people by their skin color, stuff like that. It's always going to be relevant, sadly. And this movie just absolutely captivated me. Mostly because of the performances, but the story, everything about it. Redemption. Is redemption possible? Can you come back from that? It answers all these questions. The next one's a shame. I absolutely love this movie. And it didn't get as much love because it came out around the same time as Armageddon. Deep Impact, about an asteroid headed to Earth, has the great Morgan Freeman as President of the United States. Elijah Wood is in it. Just a tremendous cast. But in this one here, it's a little bit more realistic because you can't always save the day. You can't. It's about that them finding out about the asteroid. A reporter finds out. It gets out. The government has been building bunkers to save specific amount of people. Elijah was the one who discovered it. He thought it was a star. He gets to go. He's only a high school student. But it's not just about the asteroid. It's about the people. Like the stories. Like the reporter is estranged from her father, and can they reconcile before the asteroid hits? It's a shame that this wasn't as known as Armageddon because it's so much better. In my opinion, this blows Armageddon out of the water. And I love Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis and all them. But this movie was far superior. Matt Damon, Danny DeVito, Mickey Rourke is in this one, Danny Glover. Matt Damon plays a new lawyer, the Rainmaker. The Rainmaker. He ends up getting a job at kind of a shady law office. There he meets Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito convinces Matt Damon to go it on his own because their boss is about to get in shit. So, and chase ambulances and stuff like that. But he gets a client whose son died from cancer because their insurance company kept denying their claim over and over. And one of their letters, like, we've denied this claim so many times, you must be stupid, stupid, stupid. So, it's about that trial. But while he's at the hospital studying, because remember, he's told to go chase ambulances and stuff, he meets a girl who's there with her husband who is obviously abusing her. That's why she's in the hospital, by the way. It's not a secret. It's not a spoiler. You find it right away. So he ends up falling for her, and that's like a secondary story to that one. But it's based off my favorite John Grisham novel, The Rainmaker. Of course, they didn't change the name for the movie. But what a movie. What a book. I haven't seen this movie in a while, but I have read the book many, many, many times. So check out The Rainmaker, everybody. 2 left. The Cider House Rules. Tobey Maguire plays Homer. That's right, his name's Homer. Paul Rudd's in this one. Alright, Homer's an orphan. And the orphanage he's staying at is kind of like a hospital. And the doctor there, because Homer's been in there forever, since he was a kid, like little tiny kid. The doctor's kind of training Homer to be a doctor. So, while he's extremely young, he's a doctor. But Paul Rudd brings his girlfriend in for an abortion. That's kind of what they specialize in there. And they're kind of shocked that, because they meet Homer first. Homer's the one asking questions and stuff like that. Homer's kind of smitten. Charlize Theron, of course. And he decides to go with them to pick apples. Because Paul Rudd's character's, that's where he's from. So he goes from being a doctor to picking apples. Paul Rudd goes off to war. He ends up hitting it off with his girlfriend and stuff like that. But Heavy D's in it. This is based long ago where The farm help are African Americans. They're stuck in houses by themselves on the property. None of them know how to read, so Homer reads them everything. And what a movie. It's one of those movies, like, as soon as I seen it, I was like, wow, that was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. The Cider House Rules. It's called the Cider House because that's what the house is called where the farm help has to stay. Cider House Rules because there's a list of rules on the wall, but none of them knew how to read it, so Homer had to read it to them. Makes sense. All right. The last drama movies from the 90s. Tom Hanks again. The Green Mile, based off Stephen King. Another one of his best adaptations. And Michael Clarke Duncan plays John Coffey. Like to drink, but not spelled the same. Sam Rockwell's in it. David Morse is in it. Tom Hanks, of course. Tom Hanks is a guard at a prison, kind of death row. That's what the Green Mile. And John Coffey ends up coming in because he was accused and tried of killing 2 little girls. This is also based way back then, so he was found guilty simply because of the way he looked. Man, he's huge. Like, extremely huge. And you do find out throughout the movie he didn't do it, but he doesn't care. It's an extremely emotional, sad movie. I'll be honest, I cried the first time I watched it, and if I watch it now, I probably would again. I've seen it a few times now, but I absolutely love The Green Mile. It's another one I'm sure you've all heard of before, but I'll never forget it. So, this is the best drama movies of the 1990s, in my opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments below. Did I miss any you really like? Is there any I said here that you haven't seen yet? Just share your thoughts, everybody. Till next time, thanks for watching.